Hey everyone, we've got articles on everything from a huge real estate event in Saudi Arabia to, get this, people buying houses with Bitcoin.
Wow, Bitcoin for houses.
I know, right? We'll break it all down. Plus, we've got Florida's luxury market going crazy and some expert insights into how property values actually work, like what makes them go up and what makes them go down.
Sounds like we've got a lot to cover.
We do. It's going to be a good one. So let's kick things off in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. They just had this massive real estate event called Cityscape 2024.
Oh yeah, Cityscape. It's a big one.
Huge. And one company that really stood out was this group called LSI Holding Group. They were there showing off all kinds of projects.
LSI, yeah, they're a major player in Saudi real estate. And they do just about everything, from building the properties to actually managing them.
So they're like a one-stop shop for real estate.
Pretty much. They even have a hospitality arm, you know, hotels and stuff. It's all part of this big national strategy they have in Saudi Arabia called Vision 2030.
Vision 2030. Remind me what that's all about.
Basically, they're trying to move the country away from relying so heavily on oil. They're investing a ton in other industries, real estate being a big one. So Alissai's focus on all these different real estate projects, it fits right into that plan.
So they're building for the future. It's not just about oil anymore.
Exactly. And speaking of building for the future, did you see that article about Sharjah?
Yeah, the one about the real estate boom.
That's the one. Over $1 billion in transactions just in the first 9 months of this year.
I know, it's crazy. What's driving all that growth?
Well, the government there has been putting a lot of money into infrastructure, things like roads, transportation, you know, the basics.
He makes it more appealing to investors.
Exactly. And that pushes up property values. The article even mentioned the city Korfakan. Apparently, that's a real hotspot right now.
Interesting. Okay, ready for a curveball?
Hit me.
People are buying real estate entirely with cryptocurrency now.
Really? Like the whole transaction?
The whole thing. Bitcoin, Ethereum, you name it.
Wow. Well, it's the blockchain. It makes those transactions really secure and transparent. Plus, it cuts out the middleman.
So no banks involved.
Not necessarily. It streamlines the process, though, for sure.
So you could buy a villa in Dubai with Bitcoin. Just like that.
You could, but there are some big risks involved. Crypto is incredibly volatile. You could lose a lot of money very quickly.
Yeah, maybe I'll stick with my bank for now. But okay, let's talk luxury real estate.
Yep.
Have you been following what's going on in Florida?
Oh yeah, Florida's hot right now.
It's on fire, especially along the Treasure Coast. There was this estate on Jupiter Island that just sold for almost $10 million. A record for that area.
Wow. Well, Florida's always been a magnet for wealthy buyers, low taxes, great weather, and lately the marketing for those luxury properties has been really top-notch.
It's working. Okay, let's switch gears for a minute. Let's talk about something that affects everyone in real estate, whether you're buying, selling, or just curious, and that's property values. I was reading this article. It really broke down what makes a property worth more or less.
Ah, yes. Location, 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 right?
That's what they say, but this article dug a little deeper. It's not just about being in a trendy neighborhood.
It's so much more. Things like transportation, how safe the area is, what kind of amenities are nearby, you know, parks, shops, restaurants, and the local economy plays a huge role too.
It's just like a whole ecosystem of factors.
Exactly. And don't forget about things like interest rates, the overall economy, even technology. Things like 3D printed houses could totally shake things up in the future.
Speaking of shaking things up, did you see that article about this thing called clear cooperation? It's causing a lot of debate in the U.S. real estate industry.
Oh yeah, clear cooperation. It's basically a rule that says real estate agents have to list properties on this big database, the MLS, within 1 day of advertising them publicly.
So everyone has access to the same information.
Exactly. More transparency and fairness, at least that's the idea.
But it sounds like not everyone's happy about it.
Some agents feel like it limits their options, especially for clients who want a more private approach, like if you're a celebrity or something.
I get it. Privacy matters.
It does. But on the other hand, you've got people arguing that this rule is crucial to prevent agents from manipulating the market.
That's a tough one for sure.
It is. It really highlights how important it is to have a fair and transparent system, one that works for everyone.
Okay, ready for something a little more fun?
Always. What have you got?
So I was reading this article about Bollywood actors buying up all this property in Mumbai.
Oh, yeah, I saw that one. And there were some father-son duos investing together, right?
Yep. And it's not just because they're rich and famous. India has some tax advantages for joint ownership. Plus, Real estate's a pretty safe investment, especially when the stock market's all over the place.
That's like a win-win. They get a nice property and a smart investment. Exactly. But it made me wonder, are we going to see more of this? More investors, not just celebrities, putting their money into real estate as a way to protect themselves from all the economic uncertainty. It's a fascinating trend.
It is. And you know what else is fascinating? This article I read about pension funds in Nigeria. They're making these huge investments in infrastructure bonds.
Interesting. That reminds me of what we were just talking about with Sharjah. Investing in infrastructure is a long-term game, but it pays off.
Big time. It attracts businesses, creates jobs, and property values go up.
It's all connected. And it's not just about building roads and bridges. It's about building the foundation for a stronger economy.
Right. Creating jobs, attracting businesses. And those property values tend to go up too.
It all works together. But let's go back to that location idea for a minute. Remember that article we were talking about?
The one about property values.
Yeah, that one. They had some really interesting points about what actually makes a location desirable.
It's not as simple as just picking a trendy neighborhood, is it?
Nope. Transportation is huge. Being close to public transit, having easy access to highways, even bike paths, it all adds value.
It's about being connected, right?
Exactly. And then there's safety. People want to feel safe in their homes and in their neighborhoods. Low crime rates, a strong sense of community, well-lit streets, those are all important factors.
A peace of mind is priceless.
You got it. And then you've got amenities. Think parks, shopping centers, restaurants, entertainment, all that stuff. Having those things within easy reach makes a big difference.
Convenience is key.
Yeah.
But like we said before, it's not just about what's happening on your street.
Right.
The broader economy, interest rates, even technology. It can all affect property values.
Absolutely. And that brings us back to clear cooperation. That debate is really interesting, isn't it?
It is. Trying to find that balance between individual privacy and a fair and open market.
Right. On the one hand, you have agents saying they need flexibility to cater to clients who want a more discreet approach.
Which makes sense in certain situations.
For sure. But then you have the other side arguing that this rule is necessary to prevent manipulation. They want to make sure everyone has access to the same information.
So it's about leveling the playing field.
Exactly. Tough issue. Okay. Ready for a change of pace?
Hit me.
Let's talk about Bollywood. Remember that article about those actors buying up property in Mumbai?
Oh, yeah. The father-son investments.
Yep. I think it's a sign of something bigger. We're seeing this trend globally. More and more people are looking at real estate as a safe haven.
Makes sense with the stock market being so unpredictable lately.
Right. And in India specifically, they have some tax benefits for joint ownership, so it makes it even more attractive for families to invest together.
Smart move.
Yeah.
But real estate is more than just a financial investment, isn't it?
Totally. It's about building something tangible, something you can actually see and touch. And it often ties into family legacy, passing something down to the next generation.
It's about building a future. And that reminds me of what we were saying about those pension fund investments in Nigeria.
Ah, yes. Investing in infrastructure. That's all about building a future too, a better future for everyone. It really is. Remember that article we were looking at earlier, the one about property values?
Yeah, the one that went beyond location.
That's the one. They also talked about things that can make property values go down, and it's not always what you think.
Like what? What are some of those things we might not be thinking about?
Well, one big one is oversupply. If you have a ton of similar properties all hitting the market at the same time in a particular area, it creates competition.
So prices go down.
Yep. Basic supply and demand. Too much supply, not enough demand.
Got it. What else?
Economic downturns. Those can be brutal. People lose jobs, have to move. It can really hit a local real estate market hard.
So even if your property's in a good spot, if the overall economy tanks.
Yeah, it can definitely affect things. And then there's technology. Think about those 3D printed houses we were talking about.
Oh, yeah. What about those?
If that technology takes off and becomes more affordable, it could really disrupt the market.
Interesting. So innovation isn't always a good thing for existing property values.
Not always. And of course, you've got natural disasters, floods, wildfires, earthquakes. Even if your property's not damaged, the risk alone can lower its value.
Yeah, nobody wants to live in a danger zone.
Exactly. And you know what else? Something as simple as neglecting maintenance.
Really? Like what?
Leaky roof, outdated appliances, things like that. They might seem minor, but they add up. Buyers notice that stuff.
Yeah, it's all about first impressions.
It is. And don't forget about policy changes. Remember those regulations on short-term rentals? Like, Airbnb.
Yeah, what about those?
Those can make a big difference for people who are renting out their properties.
So it's not just about the property itself. You got to keep up with the rules too.
Absolutely. So much to think about with real estate. Okay, back to those Bollywood stars for a minute.
The ones buying up all the property in Mumbai.
Yep. I think it's a smart move, especially with all the uncertainty in the financial markets right now.
Real estate seems like a pretty safe bet.
It can be. Plus, in India, they have those tax advantages for families who invest together. And there's something to be said for owning something tangible, you know?
Something you can see and touch, yeah. Not just numbers on a screen.
Exactly. It kind of brings us back to those pension funds investing in infrastructure in Nigeria.
It does. It's all about that long-term thinking, building something for the future.
You got it. And that's a great note to end on. It's amazing to see how all these different stories connect, from Saudi Arabia to Sharjah, Florida, India, and Nigeria.
Real estate's about so much more than just buying and selling properties. It's about people, communities, and building a future.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And as we wrap things up here, we want to leave you with something to think about.
Okay, what's that?
Keep your eyes open for those unexpected connections. What's happening in your local real estate market? What trends are you seeing?
What's changing the game? What opportunities are out there?
Keep asking those questions, keep exploring, and keep diving deep.
That's it for today's deep dive. We'll see you next time.